All right, welcome in everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. So these are low voltage connectors. I didn't want to do high voltage connectors, so no power sockets and stuff like that, because there's just too many of those. Yeah, a lot of these are pretty well known. Some of them are kind of esoteric. Some of them aren't really connections, but they kind of count. This is Samsung things to plug your phone into. Yeah, they were rough. Okay. Let's start out with S tier. Very honorable mention to the humble Joy-Con connector. Not because it's exceptionally good, but because it's exceptionally bad, and there was a hardware exploit in this connector that allowed people to hack their Switch. Which, including me, paperclip moment indeed. If you use a paperclip and you short 2 pins, and you push a button, you can hack your Switch and do whatever you want with it, and it cannot be patched. It's awesome. S tier. Let's think. What else we got? Okay, I think USB-C it's low S tier. It's an extremely good connector, but the standardization of it is a little up in the air, to say the least. Just because connector itself is very standard, but the protocol that uses it is not super standard across all applications. Like the Switch does not properly use the USB-C power delivery standard, which can fry switches. Okay. Let's think. Okay, I'm just going to go through these one by one. Okay, BGA, this is ball grid array. This is a way of soldering CPUs and chips to motherboards. It's pretty cool. It is extremely hard to do by hand and extremely hard to replace. So I'm going to put it in C tier. It has a good reason to exist, but is not very user-friendly. Okay, coax, I'm talking about this like cable connector that you have on your wall, or like in a lot of old cable modems have this. This, I think, is A tier. It's a good connector. Like the connector itself is fine, but like the bandwidth you can have with these puppies is insane for just 2 conductors. There's a shielding, and then there's the one in the middle. But since they are coaxial, you can do awesome stuff with it. Yeah, RF video. You can pump these babies full of data, analog and digital, and it just works. Coaxium from Han Solo. Is that a real guy? That's a stupid name. All right, barrel jack. I didn't include all the variants of this, but everybody has one of these. Don't tell. Okay. I think that anyway. Okay, barrel jack. The humble power connector. It's pretty good. It gets knocked down a couple notches because of it's not standardized across what's it called? It's not standard. Sometimes this is 8 volts DC, sometimes this is 8.4 volts DC, sometimes this is 24 volts AC. It's a mess. Sometimes the middle's positive, sometimes the outside's negative, sometimes it's flipped. So because there's no standardization, I think I'm going to put it in C tier. It works really well. It does have rotational symmetry, so you can rotate it without, it unplugging, which does, bump it up a couple points. All right, LGA, this stands for land grid array. It is one of the ways for socketing CPUs where there are pins on the socket itself. Let me make it bigger. These are pretty good, but they are pretty prone to, why can't I? Blue. Okay, I can't make it bigger. I don't know. PowerPoint's being weird. Oh, no, I can. But these pins are pretty prone to being bent. You can fix them. These things are really small. Like this whole thing is maybe 1.5 inches across. So these things are really, really small. The density of pins is really, really high. They work really well for giving power and, high bandwidth and low latency connection to your CPU. But because it's fragile, I think it is better than BGA because you can fix it. It's fragile, but you can socket a CPU. You can't socket one of these. I think B. I think B's good for that. Okay, PS2. This is for old keyboard mouse connections. I don't know what the pinout is. I don't know what each pin does and why there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7 in the middle here. They're kind of weird. They're kind of funky. They worked for a while. This is kind of like a precursor to USB. I think D tier, there is a reason for them to exist, but they kind of suck. They're round, but they aren't like rotationally symmetrical. Do you have any of these old audio ones? I do have some old audio ones. We're getting there. We've got some audio interfaces. D tier is a hot take indeed. Nostalgia. Okay, C tier. I might come back to it. All right, M2. So this is or NVMe. It falls under a bunch of different names, and they're all slightly different. I'm not going into the distinction between them. This is primarily used for high-speed SSDs. It's a PCIe interface. They're pretty good. They're easy to use. They're very high bandwidth. I think they go in B tier, A tier. They're really good. They're not particularly fragile. They're easy to use. You can't really break them. Okay. Okay, I'll do this one later. SCART. This is a European standard for video with a lot of pins. It's basically HDMI, but old, because it has like a red and green and blue channel, and I think it has audio. I can't remember for sure. I've never personally used this, but a friend was telling me about this. They're pretty cool. I think C tier. C tier is like not like bad per se, but it's not like up there. I've never plugged one in, so I can't attest to personally how fun it is to plug in. Okay, we'll get there later. Okay, let's do all the audio ones real quick. I'll get Toslink in a minute. Audio ones. Okay, we have XLR. This is awesome. These are used for mics and other things. It has balanced audio, which means any EMI, electromagnetic interference, that is picked up along the cable length is canceled out because it affects both of these. It's awesome. It's really good. Very noise proof. A fuzzy 5-pin one. I don't know. I might have it. I'm not sure. I think it might be S tier. They're also, beefy. You can use them for digital signals as well. They're made for analog. I think it might be S tier. They're really, really good. They're awesome. Okay. Okay, audio. Let's go. Okay, we have the humble. Where is it? 3.5mm jack. Normal headphone jack. Gets the job done. You can rotate it. I think it's A tier. Not S tier. It's kind of perfect. No, because it's not balanced. It doesn't. You can have special ones that have balanced audio, but most don't. You can also have microphone and buttons in line. I think it's A tier. Sorry, it's pretty small. Okay, 2.5mm. This is the smaller cousin of the headphone jack. It does the exact same things the headphone jack does. Functions the exact same, except it's smaller. Like old Xbox 360 controllers had these. They might still do it. I don't know. The biggest problem is the adaptability. It was not used that often, and so it was rarely. But I think it is strictly better than the 3.5mm jack. It does the same thing. It's smaller. It has plugs in great. So I think it's going in A tier as well. If I'm taking compatibility into effect, then it would go in B or C tier. But it's a good connector. Okay. Other audio, 1/4-inch jack. These are used for like guitars and amps and stuff like that. You can have balanced audio with them. They usually don't. You normally just have your ground and then your audio. I might have gotten them mixed up. They're very satisfying to use. They have rotational symmetry. You can rotate them freely, and they don't fork up. They are very big, which is sometimes bad, which is sometimes good. I think they're traditionally used in stuff that like you don't want to faff about, So put it in A tier. All right, what other audio ones do we have? I think that's it. Composite. That's kind of audio. Well, it has audio in it, but I'm not going to get there. Okay, this one, MMCX. This is a standard that's used on some medium to high-end earbuds. It's just audio, so it's just positive and negative, well, ground and signal. This normally goes out to a headphone jack that you would just plug into any device to do that. But these things are awesome. They're really, really small, but they're super duper strong. You click that in there to your earbud, and it's not going anywhere. The receivers just ignore that. That's just the image I grabbed. These things are S tier. These are awesome. It might be. IEMs normally have MMCX or like a 2-pin thing. These also can rotate freely, and like they're not gonna. You need like pliers to get them apart. They're awesome. S tier. It's not balanced audio, so it gets. It gets knocked down for that. Okay, Toslink. This is otherwise known as optical audio. It literally just has an optical fiber in there and a red laser that, that's how it works. These things are awesome. They can only do 5.1 surround sound, so they're kind of falling out of favor with high-end audio systems. But I didn't understand the genius of it until I moved into an apartment with bad electricity. These outlets aren't properly grounded. I believe they aren't properly grounded. So there's weird static stuff that happens. In audio stuff, if you have things that aren't properly grounded, you can introduce noise, like actual audible noise, which is really bad. This isolates the audio source from the audio output electrically while maintaining 100% pure digital sound. It's genius. You don't have to worry about if your things are on the same circuit or if there's some ground loops, because there might still be ground loops, but this eliminates the possibility of the ground loop being from your audio source. It's awesome. And it's a freaking laser. How cool is that? S tier. Okay, I think that's all the audio ones. Let's do video. Sonic Colors. Sure. Okay, let's do video. Let's move them over. VGA, we got DVI. Where's DVI? HDMI. DisplayPort, composite, component. Sorry, I should have organized these better beforehand. We do it live. Okay. Where's DVI? DVI, okay. These move out of here. Okay. Here are kind of all the HDMIs. We also have micro HDMI. I think I included that. Yeah. Okay. So these are all the video interfaces we know and tolerate, sometimes love. Okay. So for those who don't know, HDMI and DisplayPort are the two that are used in modern devices. DisplayPort does everything HDMI can do, well, except for Consumer Electronic Control CEC, where you can use your soundbar remote to control your TV, which is some people really like it. I think it's a little silly. But the thing is, there's literally a corporation that just gets royalties every time this device is implemented. Every time this cable or port is sold, you have to pay royalties to them, and it sucks. This is an open standard, like USB. You don't have to pay royalties. It's a good connector. So HDMI, it's very versatile. You can do variable refresh rate. You can do HDR. You can do, high. I'm gonna put it A tier because of the royalties. DisplayPort is S tier. This thing is awesome. Okay, and then we have the HDMI variants. I was gonna add. Did I add mini DisplayPort? I think I took it out because it was a little too. Yeah, I don't think we have mini DisplayPort. Okay. Micro HDMI is basically the size of a micro USB, but with all of the pins of an HDMI cable. On the surface, that sounds awesome, but it's really, really fragile and kind of sucks. It does work. It's on some cameras. It's on the modern Raspberry Pis have these, so they can fit two on pretty easily. But the connector itself kind of sucks. D tier. It's functional, but at a big cost. Mini HDMI, a lot of people don't know this even exists, is similar to micro HDMI, but it's a bit bigger. It's pretty good. I have like a little Game Boy thingy that has it on there. I like it a lot. I think it is as good, if not better, than full-size HDMI. Because again, it has the same exact functionality. It's just smaller. Okay, then we got our DVI. These are used on older monitors. I think this is technically analog. I don't remember what the pinout is, what each pin does, but DVI. No, this is digital visual video interface, something like that. On the back of my Wacom. Yeah, the screws are fun. I actually like them. I know what tele you're talking about too. I think VGA is a little worse because weird things can happen since it's older. It has this analog. The connectors themselves are fun. I have like the category of these are called D sub connectors, D sub miniature. But anyway, I'm talking about this as a video interface. I think C tier. I think it's with these other ones. DVI is solid B tier. I mean, it's not as versatile. It's not as good. The screws on the back are fun for strain relief and also just fun to use. They're little thumb screws. They have a little flathead screwdriver or like slots in them, so you could use a flathead. Okay, then we got the old school videos. Composite is kind of awesome. So composite, what it is yellow is your entire video stream, red, green, blue, and just everything, all on one conductor. The outside's just ground, signal ground. And then white is, I don't remember which one's which, but white and red are your audio channels. One's left and one's right for stereo sound. And then we have component, which uses 3, so it has red, green, blue, or red, green, blue. They're out of order. Anyway, for your full video stream. So it has 3 conductors and then signal grounds for each of them. Composite's kind of awesome because you have your entire analog video with one conductor. The resolution is worse. You can't do HD video, but you to the same extent as component. But they're fun connectors. They work. They're rotationally, that you can rotate them. Component, I think I'm going to put both in C tier. They both have a use. They're kind of cool. Okay, I think that's all the N64 memories. Yeah, dude. I think that's all the video ones. Okay, let's do USB type stuff. Besides USB-C, the one GameCube agent, I have seen there's GameCube. The official one. I don't know if I've seen the official one. I've seen some. There's a lot of mod chips you can have for older consoles that give you HD video. Okay, there's lots of USB connectors. I did not include all of them, but I included a whole lot of them. Okay. Mostly because I want to point this out. It's an official one from Nintendo Factory for sale. $200 screenshot. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that before. Okay, so we got the USBs. Besides USB-C, I put that in S tier because it's awesome. Okay, and then we also have 30-pin. Old iPhones and iPods had this. It was not reversible like Lightning. You could only plug it in one direction. Okay. Lightning is a pretty good connector, but it gets knocked down, again, a notch for having to pay royalties to Apple. They own the patent, and they would milk people dry. Well, they made a lot of money, billions of dollars probably, on just people making Lightning cables for them. It is a good connector, though. I think it goes in B tier. Yeah, B tier. It's good, but it's not like super good. 30-pin. Again, this is the old iPod, iPhone connector. It's kind of jank, but it's also kind of awesome because it's awesome. Yeah, no, USB-C is strictly better. I fully agree. 30-pin, I think, is in C tier. It's functional and it's kind of fun. Like, you could do iPhone docks with this thing, and like we had an old like stereo CD player type thing with one of these on here, and you would just stick your iPod in there and it would stay put because it has, you know, retention clips. There's normally like, there's 2 buttons on the side that you would have to push to release the plug. Okay. Micro USB sucks. It's small, but it sucks. I think it goes in D tier. It's functional, but like, I think everybody had an old phone where you'd have to, you know, lean it a certain way in order for it to charge, because this connector is just so finicky. It does have little retaining clips on the top, but it does serve a purpose. Okay, micro USB 3. So this thing was on some phones for a very short period of time. So it's the same here, and then it just has some other conductors for USB 3 speeds, basically. It is somehow worse than micro USB. Yeah, F tier. I gotta put something in F tier. Okay. Then we got mini USB. This is old on, like, it's not on a lot of things. It's on like some old cameras and stuff. I had a keyboard that used it as an interface. This is technically mini USB-B, but I didn't want to go through that. Sorry, excuse me. I think it goes in C tier. It's functional, but it was not a joy to use. I have had it crap out on me. Not necessarily the cable, but the socket. It is better than micro USB for robustness, for sure. Yeah. I think you meant... Anyway, okay, Firewire. This, I mean, that's a great name. Firewire. It's awesome. This was used for Thunderbolt 2. It was on... I believe it was on some storage devices as well. It was also built from the ground up to do daisy chaining. The connector is just like a little trapezoid. It's kind of cool. I think it goes in B tier. I've never personally used it, so I can't attest to how, you know, satisfying it is to click in. No, graphing calculators and stuff, some of them have mini USB, but a lot of them have just a proprietary TI thing, because Texas Instruments can charge $90 for a calculator whose bill of material is like $20. It's dumb. Okay, and then we get the USB-Bs. This is sometimes used on printers and monitors for like a USB hub type stuff. USB 3B is not used very often, and it's literally just USB 2B, but with more stuff on top. It's kind of funny. I don't know. I think it's funny. I have a weird sense of humor, though. I think it's like, I have never hated using these. They're very functional. They are significantly bigger than, you know, even a mini USB. Like the whole mini USB could fit in there. Obviously it's not meant to go there, but it's that just for, I mean, over here, yeah, you can see like a USB plug. They're good. I think they do go in the same tier. At least personally. Okay, then we have the USB A's, just the normal guys. So USB 2A, I think it might be I think it's A tier. If those get B, then composite should move up. Sure. Yeah, fine. Okay, USB A is next. So USB 3A, they're normally blue. They don't have to be blue, but it's so USB has 4 conductors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me make it bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4. USB 3 adds 5 additional ones that are used just for data transfer. So you can get a lot higher data transfer rates through 3A. Not as high as USB-C. Are we docking any points for not being reversible? Yeah, I guess so. Because I mean, it's a meme in like every movie where there's like a hacking scene and someone puts in the USB cable the wrong way and then they flip it around and put it in. They're very functional though. Like, I haven't had any of these break. You can also get some really jank ones that don't have this outer shielding, and it's like just the plastic and things here. You're not supposed to do that. It's not, you know, up to code, but they do work. You can get products like that. but like these are very reliable. I think they go in B tier. They are not A tier. Like these guys, but they are very good. Okay, let's do let's think. Speaking of Anderson connectors, I don't know if I'm familiar with those. Okay, let's do internal. Okay, I forgot to do this one. Pin grid array. This is another type of CPU. Pinning is where the pins are on the CPU itself, and the sockets are on the CPU. C tier for pin grid. I think it's in the same tier as land grid array. Obviously, the pins are on the CPU, which can also bend, but they're fun. They're definitely more satisfying to use because you just click them all in here. With land grid array, you have to use a giant thing to throw them on. Dislike most of these or have frustrations with them. That's fair. I think S tier we're all happy about, but I get it. Maybe power. Oh, Anderson power supply. Yeah. I thought about doing high power stuff, but I'm not. Okay. Let's do internal PC ones that people are somewhat familiar with. There's a lot. SAS. We got SATA. We got Molex style. We also have breadboard style, Oculink. Okay, Oculink actually goes. It's similar. I'll get to it. Okay, and SODIMM. Okay, so these are the three main ones that are used to attach RAM to a computer. There's a DIMM, which is used in desktop PCs, where the stick of RAM goes in, and then you click these little retaining clips in. There's SODIMM, which are primarily used in laptops and small form factor computers. The Steam Machine uses these, fun fact. These are good, but they're also pretty satisfying to use. I don't really like using SODIMM. They're a little finicky for me to get to work. They have retaining clips here on the side. They're a little hard to see. Ooh, whoa. How do I... Sorry, PowerPoint is getting mad. Yeah, there's little retaining clips on the side that will like click in as you push it down. I don't like them. They're a little finicky. I don't think they offer any like bandwidth or latency advantage over traditional DIMM, just the form factor, because it's, flat down. And then there's CAM. This is a newer memory standard where it's like a little Lego on the back that gets slotted in, and then you screw it down to the motherboard. This allows for significantly higher bandwidths and latencies for memory, which is awesome. And it's an open standard. It was proprietary. It was a proprietary Dell standard at first, but then they're like, this is awesome. Let's let more people use it. It's coming into fashion more and more. This also comes with the added benefit of being flat. So if you have like a fan for your CPU, you can, well, I guess there might be a cooling advantage here. I haven't thought about it much. I don't know. DIMM, I think, goes in B tier, gets the job done, nothing awesome. SODIMM, I think, goes in C. CAM, I legitimately think goes in A. It's awesome. It's I mean, to me, it's exciting. Okay. Then we got other internal PC connectors. PCIe, this thing has been around for quite a while. It's what you plug graphics cards into and other really high-speed stuff that you need connected to your motherboard. You can have network interfaces, sound cards, you can have capture cards, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. It's really good. It's not the most... So, GPUs, so graphics cards have been getting bigger and bigger, and so before, this was also kind of a strain relief thing where you could put in a giant GPU and this would hold it fine. There's also like a retention clip that you could, or retention bracket that you would put a screw in and it's fine. GPUs are getting bigger and bigger, so this is no longer sufficient. I don't think that's the fault of the connector. I think it's the fault of the GPU. Anyway, it's fine. I legitimately think this goes in S tier. It's so versatile, it's so fast, it's so essential to like even, I guess it's not really the port, but even in a laptop, they will use PCIe as the interface to connect the GPU and CPU, and USB I think is on the chipset itself, which is slightly different. Anyway, it doesn't matter. PCIe is awesome. It's essential. OcuLink is kind of cool. So this is a full-size HDMI. I don't know what this thing is, but this is full-size HDMI, and then there's this OcuLink thing, which looks kind of like an HDMI, but isn't. It is a full-size PCIe by 16 connector, which means you can just connect a GPU straight to this. I don't think it's quite that simple, but it's really, really cool. You can kind of do that over USB-C, but it's not as versatile or easy or robust. OcuLink is a little spendy, but it also isn't, because it's just a PCIe lane that your CPU already has that you just pipe off to this. I think it's an A tier. They're really cool. Any like small form factor PCs or some like high-end handhelds. The Steam Deck doesn't have one of these, but I have seen a video or a picture of somebody installing one of these in a Steam Deck, which is awesome. So you can like have external GPUs, external super high-speed docks. You can't charge over it. It's not power. It's just for data. Pretty cool. Okay. Then we got our other storage interfaces. So we have SATA. So this is an M2 slot. Let me grab the M2. Where did I put it? A tier. I do think this is still A tier. Maybe put it down here. So this is an M2 slot. This goes in one of the PCIe slots. It's just a little adapter. And then SATA is like this big, just so you have like an idea of how big it is. There's SATA and there's SAS, which look very similar, but are not to the same. SAS is used in more like data center hard drives and big solid state drives. I don't know that, I'm not super familiar with what the main difference is, besides, the physical connector is slightly different, and what the advantages and disadvantages is it over SATA. The SATA is pretty good. It's fast, it's robust. I haven't had any problems with it personally. You can get adapters to do all sorts of stuff. You can get USB cards that just go to SATA. No complaints there. So M2, I had an A tier. I think it still goes in A tier. SATA is pretty good. I think it also goes in A tier. SAS, I think, goes in B tier just because it is slightly different. I'm C tier. I don't care. And like, you can't use the same controllers. I don't think you can use the same controllers as so like a lot of consumer motherboards will have SATA headers on them that you just plug into your motherboard and then plug into this and it works. SAS, you need like a data center or industrial enterprise motherboard, which is kind of lame, but it's fine. Okay, and then we got our like power connectors, kind of. So breadboard style, I put in here. This is what you use for like your CPU, or not CPU, your motherboard power connector, other things like this. They also just go straight into they can go into a breadboard, which is like a prototyping device thing. It's kind of funny. And I shrink wrap ones, the cheap plastic ones. I'm kind of putting them in the same thing, I guess, for now. I don't know. They're really fragile. Like, you can bend them easily. The pins, at least these crappy ones. The pins on a motherboard that you would plug these into are pretty robust and not too delicate. They're also good because you can use them on a breadboard, which is really good for prototyping circuits. I'm going to put it in C tier. They work, and they work well, but they are fragile. Okay, and then we have... screw it, let me grab XT. Okay, so we have how to power GPUs. This is kind of off to the side. I'll get to that. So, NVIDIA, back in the day, being like a little while ago, maybe 5 years ago, they introduced this new connector, 12 volt high power. There are, I think, 12 pins so 12 of them are 12 volts, and then 6 of them are 12 volts, and then the 6 of them are ground. But it's just weird because some GPUs will connect these all together. they work, and then like these pins on top are sense pins to make sure the connector's plugged in properly because it is finicky. But these things keep on burning. They just keep on melting the connectors, and it just keeps happening. NVIDIA keeps like revising it slightly, and more things happen. They keep burning. It keeps happening. This is the thing about the advantage of this is normally you would need like this many Molex style connectors to power a high power GPU. This one, you just have this. So it's just one connector. It's kind of nice for that, but it is really finicky and it keeps melting on stuff, which kind of sucks. So I'm going to put 12 volt high power in C tier. It has a function. The function is important, but it's not like super good. Okay, then we have Molex style. This isn't quite the right name for it, but this is what I call them. This is what you use. You have like a 24-pin ATX connector that goes onto your motherboard to power your CPU. You can also use these to power GPUs. My GPU, it's an AMD one, and it has these kinds of connectors. They work really well. They're really old, but they work really well. I think they go in B tier. They're not... They can be kind of satisfying to use. These clips are really finicky. It's just a single, molded piece of plastic, and so there's not a lot of like... But there's a lot of friction getting it on, which is actually good, because you want it to seat properly. I think it goes in B tier. They're not like exceptionally good to use. Okay, and then XT. This is kind of funny, but it's just a YouTuber, Linus Tech Tips, they did a video where they took a really expensive GPU that had the 12 volt high power connector, and they're like, let's just put 2 wires on it, because remember, it's just 12 volts and ground. And so they literally just did that. It worked fine. It's kind of awesome. This is used for RC cars. Really good for power, because like they've been doing it. Yeah, this connector is fine, 12 volt high power, but it's just 2 wires sometimes is one giant wire is sometimes bigger than 6 smaller ones. I think A tier. They're also pretty fun to use. There's different sizes depending on the amperage you need to pass through. So I think this is an XT90, which can pass 90 amps, which is way more than you'd need for a power supply or GPU at 12 volts. But pretty cool. I'm gonna throw them in A tier. Okay. Let's do. Okay, we're getting there. We're almost there. Let's do serial data, kind of. Oh, I forgot S-video. I forgot about that. S-video is fine. So what it's like luminance and color, and then there's 2 signal grounds. I don't know why there's 2 signal grounds, but it works. This was not used very often. I think it goes in C tier. It's functional. It is strictly better from a data throughput and like bandwidth and quality standpoint than composite, but composite, like, I don't know, I got nostalgia for it. I think putting it in B tier was a good call. Okay, Joy-Con 2. These things are kind of cool because you can put them on upside down. They're pretty satisfying to use. They are not obviously an open standard, but they don't necessarily need to be. It's for the Switch 2. They're pretty fun to use. I borrowed a friend's Switch 2 to play Metroid Prime 4, which was disappointing. They're pretty fun. They have magnets. B tier. I don't know. No notes. Okay, let's do other data ones. Sure, why not? Yeah. Okay. So D-sub, this is used in like old serial connectors. You still see them on some specialized pieces of equipment. They're functional. They're great. They've got a lot of pins. They have strain relief in with those screws. So VGA uses this connector. But these are all D-sub style connectors. I didn't want to do each individual one because each individual one is specialized for its specific use. They are kind of a pain to solder to. They have like little sockets on the back that you can kind of get to. You can use specialized crimps to get on there. I don't really like them. They're functional. D tier. Okay. Let's do RJ45. This is the connector that's commonly used for Ethernet, for the Ethernet protocol, if I'm being super technical. This thing is awesome. I love this thing. I've never had to wire one up personally. I know there are specialized tools to do it, but there are 8 conductors, 4 pairs. They are twisted pairs, which is also good for shielding. Well, not shielding, for electromagnetic interference reduction purposes. It's good to have twisted pairs for data. But these things are awesome. You can push so much data through these bad boys, and it's just plastic and some tiny cables. It's an S tier connector. These things are awesome. They also have a little clip that you know goes clink when you click it in for a tiny bit of strain relief. You can just push so much data through these bad boys. S tier, and also like pretty well. They don't have nearly as low latency as a PCIe. You know, it's in the millisecond range rather than the nanosecond range, but still pretty good. Okay, SFP. I have not had the luxury to use one of these, but these things are awesome. So what it is, so this is the normal Ethernet port. This is on the back of a really high-end, well, a network switch that can allow like 10 gigabit or 20 gigabit. The SFP is really cool. What it is it's 2, I think they're LC connector, LC style connectors. So it's 2 optical fibers that are put in here, and they clip in here, and then this whole thing kind of slides in and out. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this whole thing contains all the circuitry and elements to do the electrical to optical conversion and back. So the manufacturer can just sell a kit with this thing, and it just plugs in, and it's just, okay, send me 200 gigabits or whatever. Throw whatever at there. You can do the multiplexing too, so you have different colors for different things, and then it will, demultiplex it at the other end. These are awesome. I've not used one, so I can't attest to how satisfying they are to use, but it's really smart. S tier. Just because of the bandwidth and the fact that it has all of the, lasers and stuff just in the port itself. I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm like 65% sure that's what it is. Okay. All right. We're getting there. Let's move things over. Let's do like prototype. Oh, I forgot multimeter probe. That's fine. Okay. Banana plug. This one's pretty good. It's functional, right? Everybody knows them. But then there's these things, stackable banana plugs. So you can plug something in, and then you can plug something into that. So banana plug by itself is F tier. There's no reason for this thing to exist when this exists. Stackable banana plugs are better in every single way. Stackable banana plugs, I think, go in A tier. They are a little finicky, but they get the job done. It's only, I will note, it is only used for one conductor, right? There's no shielding. It's just a thing. So they aren't, as useful. I don't know. That's just one of the limitations of the connector themselves. They work though. Okay, let's do alligator clips. Alligator clips are not all made equally. There's different styles and different tensions and different sizes. I'm just going to use just the normal alligator clip that kind of looks like this. There are more robust ones. There are gold-plated ones that are kind of fun. Alligator clips, I think, go in B tier. They get the job done. They do add so the contact area is not very high, so it will add a good amount of contact resistance, which is important in some applications. A lot of times you just want to just plug it in and get it to work. I think it goes in B tier. Can you rank jumper cables for a car? It's kind of alligator clips are kind of there. Yeah, I'm still going. I came in for this one. Yes. Oh yeah, I just did banana plugs. Okay. These things I find a lot of joy in using. Not these ones on the left, but the ones on the right. Look at it. So these are like tiny probe clips for really tiny wires for like antenna design and all sorts of prototyping with really, really small components that you'd find on like a breadboard or like a soldered PCB or something like that. So this just goes on. The other end is just a banana plug that you would plug into a multimeter or an oscilloscope or anything like this. I really like these. So they're spring loaded, and they just have a little thing that comes out and it will just grab your wire for you. They're pretty secure, but I find a lot of joy in using these ones. It's just two little grabber arms that come out. It's so cute. I love it. A tier, not S tier. It's not like, yeah, A tier for the tiny probe clips. I didn't have normal multimeter probes, it's just a piece of metal, pointy metal that you plug into. Okay, let's do, Deutscht. These are automotive connectors. They are pretty robust, pretty easy to use. They are technically waterproof. That's why there's a little gasket around it. They come in all sorts of sizes, depending on how many pins you want. They're super reliable. These ones are really, really good. You can use them for all sorts of DIY applications. The pins are a little finicky to use. You can use machined pins that are solid pieces, or you can use Molex style pins, which are just a piece of metal that's folded, so they're hollow on the inside. And those Molex style, the folded pins, are a little finicky to use. I don't like crimping them on wires, but these are really good to use. I think they go in A tier. They also are kind of a joy to use. They are a little like tight to use. This does seem like Metroid Prime. That is fair. It is not anymore. That is a good point. I did not change the Twitch title, and I will not be changing the Twitch title because I'm almost done. Okay, anyway. Okay, we got the humble hand connecting wires. Can't go wrong with that. I'm doing a connector tier list. This will go on my YouTube channel later. That's a good point. I should have changed the Twitch stream title. Hand, I think, goes in A tier. It works. Connecting wires by hand. Can't go wrong with that. Okay, Wago connectors. They do lose high reliability, high voltage. That is true. I'm not doing high voltage connectors because I was thinking about it and I'm like, I don't want to do that. Wago connectors, or Vago, I think it's German. These things are awesome because you can use them with tons. Yeah, no, you're good. Tons of different sizes of wires. They're awesome. S tier. And they're pretty inexpensive. More electricians are using this for, because they can also pass tons of current. Awesome. Okay, wire nuts. I think I might put them in F tier because the Wago, the lever connectors, the ones I just showed, are like strictly better. I think they go in F tier. They are a relic of an old age. They can die. I have no fondness for them. They're always finicky and kind of suck. You waste so much wire if you mess up. Yep. Okay. Let's do... Okay, solder's the other one. Wire nuts, like, I don't have a fondness for them. I could see how someone would, though, if they've done a lot of, wiring. Solder... This is what I just looked up, like, soldering wires together, and this was like the third result. Look at how bad this is. No, it was like on a guide of how to solder wires together. This is not how you solder wires together. This sucks. It technically works, but like, solder is so brittle. It's so brittle. You apply a little bit of tension to that, and that thing snaps, and then you're toast. Like for soldering wires together, I suppose this is kind of good, but you would definitely want to like wrap like 15 layers of electrical tape around that and make sure there's some strain relief. It is necessary sometimes, so because of that, it goes in D tier. All right, let's do. Okay, well let's address the elephant in the room. Log splitter. This is from Styro Pyro's video on connecting 400 car batteries together. It is legitimately one of the best videos I've ever seen. It talks about a lot of really cool electrical engineering concepts that are like not really taught. It's really cool because the magnetic forces you get from this is awesome. He's passing so much current. All of these wires are huge. But in order to close the circuit, he used a log splitter with 2 copper plates on it. It's awesome. It's so cool. because it just will contact them quickly and with a lot of force. S tier. I know I didn't talk about like high voltage or high current applications, but this thing is an honorable mention. It goes in S tier. It's awesome. It's hilarious. Okay. Let's do antenna stuff first. BNC it's like coaxial. Actually, I'm gonna bump coax down a tier because this thing is strictly better. Its functions the same as a coax connector. It's like a bayonet something connector. It's really cool what it is. So there's there's some tabs here that kind of slot into the male plug and they kind of twist. It's a little hard to see in this picture. It's very satisfying to use. It's very good for RF and a lot of other things because you're continuing your coaxial connection, which is really good for noise reduction. BNC Ascrit S tier. It's good because again, it has all of the benefits of like the crazy stupid high bandwidth and noise reduction of a coax, but is easier to connect. Coax still goes in A because just the amount of data you can pump through just a single wire is awesome. Analog and digital. Same with BNC, analog and digital. All right. Okay, antennas. SMA. This is, I don't know what type of, there's like different styles of SMA. I'm just using this as like a catch-all for these types of connectors. They're like coaxial, but they're smaller. They're used for antennas, like on the back of a motherboard or other things. They're kind of satisfying to use. They are coaxial, so you do get the added benefits. They're more sensitive to impedance matching because you are, doing RF stuff with it. So this is going to an antenna. You can extend it, but I'm going to put in B tier. It exists. It gets the job done. Gets the job done very well. I haven't had any problems with it. No complaints. Okay. This is probably the most niche one, but I'm putting it in because it's so satisfying to use. Okay, so this is a Wi-Fi card. This is only suitable for one type. I don't know what the types of these guys are. There's different MHF types of connectors. This is MHF1. I don't care. So this goes in an M2 style slot. So it just gets full PCIe lanes that goes to your CPU and motherboard and all that. But this is so you connect to this and then you connect. So like MHF is this thing here. So it connects to your motherboard or to your Wi-Fi card and then out to, the outside world, which then you would connect with an SMA connector. So they're coaxial. So you have the shielding and the inner with the two conductors, but these things are so satisfying to click in. You just pop them in. They have a lot of tension, but like they're good. They also are coaxial, so you can rotate them. I think it goes in A tier just because it's so dang satisfying to use. I've only had the pleasure of using it a few times in my life, but that's okay. You're fine. Okay. Real quick, while we're talking about those types of things. Okay, we have, move these around. So these SMD and THT. SMD stands for surface mount design, and THT is through hole something. I actually don't know what the last T stands for. Okay, so when you have a PCB, you can have components that go through the PCB, through hole, right? So the chips like this, or like resistors like this. So you push it through, and then there's a pad on here, and then you solder the pad right there. So you can also kind of bend the leads, and the hole will kind of add some strain relief. This is extremely easy to solder by hand. Anytime you're soldering, like if you're taking a soldering class, which I did in high school, which is actually kind of fun, you will do this. You won't do this. You won't do SMD. You'll do THT. It's really easy. It works. The only downside is you have to go through the PCB, so you can't have traces going through the hole, obviously. I think I'm going to put it in B tier. SMD is similar to THT, but a pain to solder. It's very, very difficult to do by hand. A lot of times what they do is they get what's called solder templates. So it's just a, what's it called? I don't know, it's just a piece of plastic with little holes in it that you line up to the pads down here on your PCB, and then you put some solder paste around it. You use like a spatula type thing to spread it on there. You add all the solder paste onto the pads, and then you put all the components on there, and then you put it in an oven to let it reflow. Micro soldering, yeah. It's functional. It works. If you have to do it by hand, it sucks. Machines are pretty good at doing it because they can use what's called pick and place. Okay, I'm going to talk about this for a little bit because it's interesting. So pick and place is a giant machine that has these things that are literally on reels, like spools, and it's a little tiny vacuum arm that will come. So this thing is like, I don't know, 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Little tiny vacuum arm that will come and touch the middle and pull a suction and lift it up and then put it on the PCB in the exact right spot. And then that whole thing goes in the oven, solder flows over it, and that's how phones and a lot of high-end, most electronics are made through that process because it's really cheap. It's really good for manufacturing. We're very precise. It's awesome. But it's a pain to do by hand. I think it goes in B tier just because of the manufacturability of it. Because THT, you effectively have to do it by hand, which sucks. Okay. Okay, let's talk about this fella, EMV, smart card, similar type things. Everybody knows these. They're on modern credit cards. They're so finicky. They suck. I hate them with a passion. Especially since if you fail it 3 times, you just use the magnetic stripe on the back. So what's the added security benefit of having a lock that if you just fail 3 times, you can just open the door? It's stupid. F tier. Well, D tier because it is cool from like an engineering standpoint. These things are literally gold plated. It's literal gold on the very top because it has low contact resistance, low corrosion stuff. And it is a teeny tiny computer in there that boots up, receives cryptographic information, encrypts something, sends it back, and then your transaction is verified. So because of the cool engineering stuff that goes on behind the scenes, it goes in D tier. But other than that, yeah, it's so stupid. Anyway. Okay. Let's talk about pogo pins. Pogo pins are fun. I like them. I was trying to use one. I tried it like 4 times, and then the 5th time it just worked. They're so finicky. And they don't need to be. Oh, they kind of do by the nature of them because it's rubbing. If the readers were different where it would only push the pins down once the thing was fully in, it would work better because the pins are like already in the reader, it's like rubbing across the whole thing, and that causes it to degrade, the contact to degrade. Like you can kind of clean them with alcohol, but actually I'll probably do that to mine after the stream because I can do that. Anyway, pogo pins, these are pretty fun. So it's just little spring-loaded pins so you just kind of crimp wires or whatever and you solder them onto a board, and then they will be spring-loaded, so they're always applying a downward force to contacts. So some pads that are on a PCB or a credit card, those types of things. They're fun. They're good for things that you don't want to, that you have like a loose connection to. You can't pass a ton of power through it because of the low contact surface area. So there's a good amount of contact resistance there. There's going to be, anyway, they're fun. I think they go in B tier. They're good. But then we got this pogo pins plus magnets. This is what your AirPods use. This is what a lot of like cool stuff uses. This is what the Steam controller uses, which I have over here. I don't know if this will, let me grab it real quick. I don't think the mic will pick it up because I have like sound reduction on it, but we'll see. So the Steam controller has a little puck here that they call the chongle, the charging dongle. That's what they called it internally, and it's funny. And this thing will act as a receiver for the wireless controller. Really low latency, really high stability receiver. And it will also use pogo pins and magnets to line up itself on the back and charge it. And let's see if the mic gets it. Oh. It's so good. S tier. It's so satisfying to use, and it's rock solid because the magnets because the magnets like will line things up so that way they aren't rubbing, you know, back and forth. So they're really, really, yeah, they're awesome. S tier. Yeah, it's an S tier connection. Okay, we're running out of things. I'm gonna rant about screw terminals real quick. So screw terminals are on a lot of what is it called? Process logic controller, PLCs type stuff. Programmable logic controller, that's what it is. For like control loops for, I don't know, manufacturing plants and other really expensive equipment. And non-expensive equipment. And anyway, it's pretty common. What you do is you get a solid core wire, not a stranded wire. They're only meant to be used for solid core wires. Or if you have, oh, I didn't add ferrules. It's not important. Okay. But there's a little screw on here that you unscrew with a screwdriver, and it like brings these jaws open, and then you put the wire in and you screw it down, and the jaws close, and that's it. They close, and then your connector's good. These things, they work. They're functional. They're good when you need to connect a wire to a board. I don't think there's a better way to do that besides the screw terminal, but they're an F tier because these things exist. Removable screw terminal. You see this? You see this? So this is what's soldered onto a PCB, and this is what plugs into that. What you can do with this is you can unplug it from there, and then you can get your hand in there and wire things together and then plug it in. It's way better than this, because these things suck. Because like if you're over tightening it, you will apply too much torque, and then like this whole thing just gets yanked off the PCB, and then your $70 thermocouple reader broke. I may or may not be speaking from experience. Actually, I think it was like $125. It sucked. There were more terminals, so we got it to work, but it was stupid. These things are like marginally more expensive and better in every single way. F tier screw terminals. These guys, they're functional. They aren't a particular joy to use, but they're functional. I'm going to put them in B tier. I might move hand down. No, hand gets the job done. Okay. And then we got these guys, spade terminals and ring terminals. So spade terminals are these guys because it's a little spade shovel type thing. They slot into each other. They work pretty well. No real complaints. Actually, these might not be spade terminals. And there's different names. I call them spade terminals. I've heard other engineers call them spade terminals. I don't care. Ooh, backwards. I'm going to put them in B tier. So what you do is you put a wire in here in just the red part, and then you use a crimper. Basically what it is, it's just like pliers that squeeze it in a particular way and then cause the wire to stay on there. And then you can connect it to stuff. I think B tier for spade terminals, honestly. Okay, and then ring terminals. These are functionally the same as spade terminals, but very different because... So it's a solid ring, it's a ring. You can't just plug it into something because they require a nut and bolt to affix it to. It's not like you need tools to do it, which in some ways is a good thing because the connection is very good and it's not going to get unplugged. Prong styled ones. So I've heard there's spade terminals that look like this. There's also spade terminals that kind of, I can't draw it here, but that kind of can go on to something like this. That's like a ring, but without this stuff here. Yeah, it's like an open ring. I have heard them called spade terminals. These ones are slightly different I don't know. I've heard both of them be called that by engineers. So I don't know, but ring terminals are awesome. I think they're A tier. They're extremely robust and really good for when you need to pass 60, 110 amps through something. Ring terminals will get the job done. Okay. That was kind of fun. What time is it now? Oh, it was over an hour. Sheesh. Okay, I think I'm pretty satisfied with the listing of it. I ranted for a while there. I kind of expected that. So S tier, We got our balanced audio XLR, Toslink, PCIe, RJ45, SFP, all these guys. Other electrical rated things I can rank in the future. Good question. I will think about it. Thank you. A tier, we got these guys. Yeah, I'll just scroll through at the end. I don't know what the next tier list is going to be, but I seem so prepared. I was just kind of... Batteries could be fun. I had thought about this a little bit beforehand, but I usually try to not give it too much thought when I go into it, just so I can kind of rant and see what chat says. But this was more fun than I thought. I hope it was engaging and entertaining to hear an electrical engineer rant about things that do not matter, but matter to him. Here, let's skip. I think we can do this so you can see all of them at the same time. Okay. Yeah, so next week, I'm going to stream as normal, Tuesdays, Thursday. Super informative for layman, sure. Yeah, cool. Good, I'm glad. Tuesday, I'm going to do Metro Dread Randomizer, and then Thursday, I will do something. Where's my phone? But before that, stay on. I'm going to send you guys to a funny video.